House Foreign Affairs Chairman Michael McCaul, who's leading the investigation into the Biden administration's Afghanistan withdrawal, is threatening to hold Secretary of State Antony Blinken in contempt of Congress. McCaul is demanding Blinken turn over internal sensitive cables from State Department officials related to the U.S. 2021 exit from Afghanistan. And as of now, the State Department has not complied with McCaul's requests. CBS News senior investigative correspondent Catherine Herridge joins us now. Earlier today, she spoke with Chairman McCaul. Catherine, first of all, break down what he told us and what he makes of what the Secretary of State has or has not done.
Well, Scott, good to be with you. Congressman McCaul is seeking something called a dissent cable. This is an internal State Department document that allows senior State Department officials to criticize government policy without fear of retaliation. In this case, the policy on Afghanistan. The congressman told us that he is prepared to take very aggressive action if the documents aren't provided by the deadline this week. Here's that part of the conversation. If the May 11th deadline passes, are you prepared to hold the Secretary of State in contempt of Congress?
We are. I mean, it's a path I'd rather not take, but it's necessary because we need to see that dissenting cable. After that period of time, we will have to mark it up out of committee and then go to the floor. I think significantly, Catherine, this will be the first time a Secretary of State has ever been held in contempt by Congress.
And how quickly could all of that happen? What timeline are you looking at?
So May the 11th is the deadline, markup on May 24th, and probably get to the floor first week of June.
So we could be looking at holding the Secretary of State in contempt of Congress by early June, just a few weeks away.
Correct. Again, we're giving them ample time to respond. It's important to note this is a criminal contempt as well. It would be referred, I think it would be voted out of the House, and then it would go into judicial proceedings after that.
A similar scenario, Scott, played out with the Secretary of State Mike Pompeo under the Trump administration. House Democrats threatened to hold him in contempt of Congress for failing to provide records that the State Department had provided to the Senate as part of a Hunter Biden investigation. But that fell short and was withdrawn once the State Department did provide those records in the end.
With Title 42 expiring tomorrow, what does the House Foreign Affairs Chairman think about the Biden administration's attempt to ramp up these deportations after the expiration?
Well, Scott, as you know, Congressman McCaul, his home district is in Texas, so this is an issue that hits very close to home with the congressman. And he made very clear that there are already indicators they're picking up. Of course, he gets classified briefings that there could be a surge in migrants with the collapse or the end of Title 42. Here's that part of the conversation. On Title 42, the Biden administration has brought in new restrictions. Do they go far enough?
You know, I don't think so. I mean, with the lifting of Title 42, it's important to note that, I mean, the situation's already so bad. Lifting Title 42, the cartels know this. We're already seeing indications of massive caravans moving up towards the border. That's why we have this border security bill that my committee, the Foreign Affairs Committee, had the piece dealing with reinstituting and codifying the migrant protection protocols to make that part of the law.
And the congressman told CBS News that his bill really is twofold, that it would provide additional technology and funding for the Border Patrol, the physical patrol of the border, and then also create these deterrents and codify these deterrents that he said worked under the last administration, Scott.
Let me shift gears, Catherine. You have covered congressional investigations of Hunter Biden extensively. And we know today the House Republicans laid out the details to support the allegations they've made that members of the Biden family, including Hunter, received millions of dollars in payments from foreign entities. What did you make of what the House Republicans showed and said today?
Well, Scott, what made this interim report from the House Oversight Committee stand out is that they now have subpoena power. And based on the interim report, they've received thousands of documents from the banks directly about these financial transactions. To simplify it, what they're alleging is that there was a years-long complex scheme that had a number of companies that ultimately provided financial benefits to members of the Biden family. We were told at the news conference there were 170 plus suspicious activity reports by the banks These are transactions that are flagged for additional review. In this case, we don't know whether there was some kind of disciplinary action against these accounts or whether it was innocuous. The main complaint from Democrats and the White House is that despite all of these banking records, what the Oversight Committee has not done yet is draw this straight line between the financial transactions, the payments, and Joe Biden. And as you know, at the end of last week, President Biden said that he was confident that his son had done nothing wrong in his business dealings. But the committee will continue, they say, and issue more subpoenas on the matter.
In Washington, Catherine Herridge, thank you very much.
You're welcome.